Hello, everybody. Ted Davis here with sort of a rant. Not really a rant, just kind of a an opinion piece here. So I don't know if many of you viewers have been reading the headlines on social media recently by different outlets over the possibility of another Black Sabbath final show, with the original lineup, that of course being Ozzy Osbourne on vocals, Tony Iommi on guitar, Geezer Butler on bass, and Bill Ward on drums. Now, as we know, the end tour, Black Sabbath finally called it quits about 2.5 years ago in February of 2017 after the end tour, which Bill Ward refused to be a part. Well, he refused to be part of the new album 13 because of a crappy contract. He couldn't get there was the contract that he was offered wasn't good enough for him, so he just refused to do it. So they got Brad Wilk of Rage Against the Machine to play drums on the 13 album, and then they got, and excuse me if I'm pronouncing his name incorrectly, but Tommy Cliffus, who's Ozzy Osbourne's solo drummer, to play drums with him on both the tour to support 13 and then the end tour. So let's kind of start out. So Black Sabbath were honored with the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award back in May, and Tony, Geezer, and Bill all showed up there, and Ozzy didn't because of Sharon, which I'll get to in a moment. And Rival Sons, I believe, performed instead of Black Sabbath. They did a couple Sabbath tunes on the Grammy during the ceremony, and that was all well and good. And then after that, you had Geezer say, when he was asked about the possibility of a final show with Bill Ward, well, never say never. I can't imagine it happening. And I'm just paraphrasing here. I can't imagine it happening, but that's what I said about the last tour, and it happened, so never say never. And then you had Bill Ward actually come out just recently with his, posted a video on his Twitter saying how he was really open to it and how he really wanted it to happen. And then recently Sharon Osbourne posted something about her reasons why she wouldn't let Ozzy go to the Grammy ceremony because of really some, in my opinion, crappy reasoning. Meaning that she said something about how the other artists being honored there, and the other artists being honored at that ceremony, they deserved it, but they didn't have the career that Sabbath had. And yes, well, in my personal opinion, I would probably much rather listen to Black Sabbath than any of the other artists that they were honoring that night. But still, you're comparing the career of the practical inventors of what we know as heavy metal music to artists, to artists that trace a whole variety of genres that don't even compare to Sabbath. That's just like saying that Sabbath is the greatest band of all time and that those artists are inferior to, it's kind of a dumb reason. Sabbath made their music, other artists make their other music. It's not, you can't say that, in my opinion at least, and I'm guilty of having this attitude before, but I've come to learn as a music lover and being a musician, being exposed to a lot of different styles, you can't really say that one style of music is, an artist is better than another artist just from the style of music that they play. And phrase it as such like it's a fact. No, it's an opinion. We all have different ears. We hear things differently. We as individuals hear things differently. But me personally, yeah, I would much rather listen to Black Sabbath than any of the other artists that the Grammys are, you know, that the Grammys are bowing down to. But to go out and say like it's a fact that Sabbath didn't have the careers that Sabbath had, you know, their catalog still sells more than these artists do. I don't know. I never liked Sharon Osbourne. I still don't like Sharon Osbourne. I think has total control of Ozzy's life right now. I think she's a terrible person. Bob Daisley and Lee Kerslake can back me up on this with the amount of money that they were screwed out of after being kicked out of Ozzy Osbourne's solo band back in the 80s. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that right now, but so there was that happened, and before I forgot to mention beforehand, before all the other postings that I talked about happened, Ozzy had experienced great regret on the end tour for Bill not being there, because as Sabbath fans, we know that Ozzy and Bill were really good friends. During the original run of the band, they were the best of friends. When Ozzy was sacked in 1978 to make way for Ronnie James Dio during the Heaven and Hell recording sessions, Bill was a mess. He was an alcoholic. He was depressed that Ozzy wasn't there. He thought Dio was a great singer, but for him playing behind the drums at shows during that tour and having Ronnie be there instead of Ozzy, you know, Ronnie and Ozzy are completely different styles of frontman. It just wasn't the same for him, and it just made him feel absolutely depressed. And I think along with that, I don't know if his father died or something. He had some death in the family that made him really bad, so he just kind of took a nosedive into the into the pool of alcoholism. But anyway, so after mentioning all of that, do I think that a last Black Sabbath show is going to happen? Honestly, and I want it to happen more than anything in the world, I think those four guys deserve to play with each other one last time before calling it a day. But I don't think it's going to happen. Sharon controls Ozzy's life right now, has been for a number of years, has been for decades. Bill really wants to do it. I think at this point, he's got his own band going. I think he's looking for any other excuse to play right now. Geezer's kind of indifferent about it, and Tony's got some time on his hands, let's just say. Yeah, I think he said in an earlier interview this year that he talked about doing a solo album, but I don't know. It could happen. I don't think that. I think it's possible, but I think the chances are slim. I just don't think that this is, except for Bill, I don't think that a one-off original lineup Black Sabbath final show is, the thought of it isn't really at the forefront of any of the members' mind except for Bill Ward. And again, this is just judging from what I've seen and from what I've watched and from the articles I've read regarding the issue. So feel free to disagree with me in the comments section below if you think I'm full of shit, if you think I'm wrong, if you agree with me. Please feel free to voice your opinions in the comments section below. Please try to be respectful. I'd appreciate that if you did. But yeah. If there's one thing, if there's one thing you can take away from this video, I don't like Sharon Osbourne at all, and I think that she's controlling Ozzy's life. But I won't get into that right now. But and as much as I want it to happen, and as much as I think there's a slim chance of it, I don't I honestly think there's only a slim chance of the Black Sabbath show with the original lineup to happen in the future, but we'll see. As always, thank you guys very much for watching, and stay tuned for more content in the future. We'll see you guys later.